What's up, everybody? You're listening to episode 22 of Just Breathing with Laud Lungs. Pat Kenna in the house.
What up, fam?
What's up, man?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
We were just shooting the breeze, and Pat's like, are we going right now?
Is this the podcast?
No, we have to do an intro because we're cool.
That's why I was confused.
I'm going to look back on this intro in like 5 years and be like, why did I start that?
Why are we doing that?
Or it's going to be like trademark. Or it's like, I'm going to have
If you had to put money on it right now, is it something cool that continues? Like, let's just say we are at episode 200. Are you still doing that intro?
The stubborn part of me wants to say yes.
100%.
100%. I don't depend.
I
feel like if I get like down the road, let's say people want to start coming on my podcast that have some more notoriety.
All right,
Pat Kenna comes back on episode 200.
Oh, dude, can we make that happen?
When you've blown up.
To what? I
don't
pretty
know.
blown.
Yeah, you're pretty blown.
Yeah, I got to work on
We'll talk about that. But I don't know, man. I feel like it's such a good icebreaker.
It is
Like
nice.
to say to somebody
down a
like,
wall.
you know, because most people come on the podcast and they're like, so how do we start this? And like, I feel like that just gives you something
Yeah.
to, all right, let's just take a breath. Let's get into it. Let's start talking, you know. So I like it.
It's funny.
I like
and
it.
it makes people feel comfortable because it's like you start off kind of like, I should be laughing right now, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's great. Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I just want to try my hand at consistency
Yeah.
once in my life.
Yeah.
Because I feel like,
I feel that.
yeah, I feel like all my life I'm like, let's try this and this and this and this. and this.
Go.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're at 22 right now.
That's pretty good, dude.
The last time you were on was 8. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. 22 podcasts in.
We talked about
Boom.
beards and stuff.
We didn't. That was, yeah.
It was weird.
That wasn't the highlight of that podcast. There were some good parts.
That's all I remember.
I guess it was. Darn. Dang it. Yeah, man. I just want to keep going in this.
Yeah.
I want to keep going in this, get more people on. I'm excited to have just different voices too.
Yeah.
You know, just hear other people's perspectives. Cause like right now, we're all kind of so isolated still.
Yeah.
I don't ever get to like ask somebody different besides my wife what they think.
What do you think? Oh, yeah. We already said that.
Like, so I'm just like, well, I think this. Britt, you know.
Britt, to you?
And then she tells me her thoughts, maybe. And then I'm like, all right. That's the world.
All right. So what's the
You know.
biggest thing that you've learned from episode 1 to now 22?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Besides the lighting.
I don't think I've learned. Yeah, I've got better lighting.
Yeah.
That helps. That does help. I don't know. I don't think I've done it enough, even still, to have anything ingrained.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm 22 podcasts new.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm still a freshman in this. Because I still go back and listen to episodes when I'm making clips or, you know, just putting it together. And I'm like, freak. especially the times where you like talk over somebody and then you go back and listen to that and it's like, oh, you know.
Am I really that much
like,
of a dick?
There's exactly. There's so many times that Britt goes to speak and I'm like, and second, you know, and I'm like, darn it.
I'll get better.
Yeah.
So it's just been like a growth thing for you almost, just kind of been like how can I host better? And
I have to say though, the best thing about it has been the ability to sit down every week and just kind of mind dump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's plenty to talk about right
for
now.
Sure.
So
for sure.
So every week something happens and I'm like, well, we got to do a podcast. I'm going to figure out what I'm thinking now.
Yeah.
You know, and that was something that happened on the last episode, 21, with Britt. I was like talking about the inauguration. I was talking about. I don't even remember now. Yeah, it was really good though. No, but basically, as the podcast went on, I like caught myself like actually developing my thoughts.
Yeah.
And I was
crazy,
like,
right?
oh, this is cool. So you talk about stuff and
You kind of learn about
you
what
learn.
you think.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, just because I think until you talk about it,
Mhm.
it's just whatever narrative you've heard.
Mhm.
And then once you talk about it and you start to inject your own ideas, your own, or you start to pull from things that matter to you, like your faith or things like that, it morphs into your thought and not what you've been told.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a cool thing because I was really able to kind of start the podcast from a wanting to be positive, kind of wanting to be optimistic and kind of feel out how we're going to move forward as a country and all that type of stuff. And then like halfway in, I'm like, I believe it. Like I believe in what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And I see that as the way out. I see that as the way forward.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, that's cool.
Crazy. I don't just talk. Like I actually think these things and I believe them.
But it is just talking though.
It
is just like you need someone. I was saying to Britt, like I could do my own podcast by myself, just be like, hello, you're listening to episode, but I can't do that. I can't do it because
That'd be awesome.
I need somebody to
bounce ideas,
bounce it off of. I need someone like, and Britt does this great. I'll say something and she's like, and I know I said something out there.
Oh yeah.
So now we get to have this conversation and figure out what the heck I was talking about. So that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Or I'll say something. She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, good.
All right,
Good.
Someone agrees.
Because I think so fast, stuff just comes out and I'm like, I hope this is good.
But it's so interesting though, because not a lot of people, like I feel like I'm the same way. Like I love to process out loud. And people do at times feel like, oh, like they're just walking on my toes, like they're not giving me room to speak. But in my head, I'm just walking through this for myself. And you guys are just getting insight into what I'm thinking, where I've come to find out like a majority of people are not that way. So they don't understand that I'm just processing and kind of figuring out what I believe. Yeah. Like my wife, for one. Like she does not process out loud. Yeah. She's one of those people who's like, I need to sit and I need to think about this. Yeah. And then once I've thought about it, I can give you my opinion. Where I'm just like, no. I need to talk about it. And then like, once I've talked about it enough, like I'll kind of understand where I believe. I can listen to other people and what they're saying. Yeah. But I've like, remember like that was a big part of Liz and I when we were doing like our marriage counseling, like before we get like our premarital stuff. Like we learned that we both kind of look at this a different way. Where I'm just kind of like, hey, talk.
That's good that you learned it then.
Yeah.
Because most people learn it once they're married.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
It is.
That's hard.
Because I think that people want to process, like get through stuff like I do. Right. And I'm constantly like pushing her, like, come on, name what you're feeling. Like, let's go. What is it? How do we get through it? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I need like a day. And I'm just like,
a day?
A day. Yeah. That's 24 hours. Are you sure? So we'll schedule it for 6 tomorrow?
Yeah. We could have this done in an hour.
Yeah, maybe. If that.
Britt's exactly the same way. I hope she doesn't kill me for saying this, but the other day, just this past week, I thought it was had a conversation. I thought we were just talking. And then I don't remember if it was that night or the next day. She brings me a letter. And she's like, I wrote it out because I knew I wouldn't be able to just kind of say everything that I'm feeling. Yeah. So, and it was a beautiful letter. Like it was, there was nothing negative about it. She was basically like, I'm dealing with this still. Yeah. And like, I'm working through it and nothing that you said like was wrong.
Yeah.
This is how I felt about it.
Mhm.
This is why I felt that way, and she just was able to kind of get it out in that way.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I think our wives are very similar in that way.
It's a beautiful thing when, like, even that, like, maybe people who are listening right now are like, your wife brought you a letter, like she couldn't talk to you, and you're just like,
but it was awesome because I read it with her right next to me.
Yeah, whatever keeps communication open.
Yeah.
I don't care if, like, you go spray paint on the side of the house, so, like, you're mad at me, but, like, that's your way of communicating that to me. Now, Chase, if you ever hear this as you're growing up, don't spray paint in our house. But, like, whatever it takes to keep lines of communication open, because that's the only way, like, healthy relationships last.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's when we keep stuff that's pent up that stuff starts to deteriorate.
And I keep stuff pent up in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the interesting thing about it is I'm, much more open, much more, if I'm thinking it, I'm probably going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
everybody needs a JC in their life.
But I have learned because of my wife.
Yeah.
When to hold my tongue or when to kind of give it out slowly and kind of work up to that place. And if I feel like she's already clenching up and like being like, oh crap, I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah.
I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
So it's definitely helped me because I know I'm going to deal with, there's your wife. I know there's going to be other people that I deal with in life that are going to have that personality. And now I know how to talk to them.
Yeah.
So that's a positive in that regard that, she's really helped me see I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to deal with any other personalities in my home other than my parents.
Dad.
Yeah, but
your dad's personality.
Me and my dad have like a similar personality. Though.
True. It is true.
Now, I learned a lot from my mom to not have some of the negative traits. Like I can talk to my dad easily. Yeah. I'm like one of the few people that can really like just have a normal conversation with him. Just because we'll just go at it and I'm like completely comfortable with it.
Yeah.
We'll be yelling at each other and it scares Britt half to death. But and then we'll just be like,
hug it out, bro.
What do you want to watch on TV? It's different.
Yeah.
It is different. But yeah, I've definitely grown in my ability to speak to people, that communicate in that way.
Yeah.
And I've learned kind of the beauty of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that way sometimes gets you further than my kind of more brash, because it's not as, sometimes things need to develop. Sometimes things need to take time to really get to the heart of it or to really see it in its fullness, whatever idea, whatever situation you're talking about. So, yeah, I've had to definitely learn in that regard a lot.
I feel like most guys do.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if that's a guy thing.
I just think most guys need to learn how to communicate better. And maybe not even communicate better, but learn how to like read the people they're talking to and then like adjust on that and not just say like, hey, I'm Pat, so I'm going to come in and talk like Pat wants to talk, but saying like, oh, I'm sitting across the table from JC, so I can say whatever I feel like and he's not really going to be offended by it. But if I sit across the table from Britt, I'm kind of like, okay, we're going to kind of like work through this a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And that's why we need to talk to more people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because we don't have this tool bag of communication, it's going to be a rough life because you're going to deal with so many different people over the course of your life. And if you're not regularly equipping yourself for this task, we're going to get the crap that we have now in our country where no one knows how to talk to each other anymore.
Yeah.
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 No. And that's I think a lot too of what we're talking about is nuance. There's a lot of other things than sometimes I might think, okay, this situation is about this. And Britt's thinking about 12 other things that are involved in this one thing. But I'm just kind of a one-track mind type person. Let's get through this, answer this question, and let's go. And she's like, yeah, but what about this? And this part has to come in and all of that. And I mean, that's the issue with like communicating on social media right now is like when you were saying how you speak to process, I think the same happens for a lot of people that post on social media. They're processing, but we don't give people the time to process or the space to process. We're like, oh, you believe that? Oh, you believe that? You stupid? You know, like, and then we just react. We just immediately go and we put them in boxes and we, you know.
Because nobody thinks that it's wrong to tell somebody they're wrong.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we have to be people pleasers that keep everybody happy. But it's two totally opposite.
Some people don't.
No, that's
Some
for
people
sure.
are like, you are dumb.
No, but it's like your real world, when you see people, when you're face to face, you're never faker than when like versus when you're on your online platform.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just speak whatever you want.
True.
So it's like we've learned almost this like, we've learned from Instagram and Facebook that we can put on a facade and do whatever we want. And we've adopted that into our normal lives because it's easier to do that than develop your relationship. Like, I feel like, no joke, there's this pandemic, people have forgotten how to talk. Like, not like, not like say like hello, but like have a conversation. It's weird.
Well, don't you think that, and we've talked about this on multiple podcasts now, don't you think that breakdown is really a huge factor in everything going on in our country?
Yeah.
I mean, people just can't come to a conclusion about anything because they don't even start a conversation. I don't think anybody's actually, you know, going back to June with all of the criminal justice reform that needed to happen, the police reform, all that stuff. Barely a conversation.
Depends on what side of the fence you're on. I think there was a lot of conversation that came out of that.
I think there was.
I don't know if any of it led to.
I think there was a lot of talk, but I find that conversation has to involve different people.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so I see that we've it's faded because not enough conversation was really happening and allowed to happen. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. I mean, I feel like, for what it's worth, I feel like the media controls what people talk about. So as soon as there's another hot button topic, then
I think they
there is
kill
no more
conversation.
Exactly.
Because what happens is a conversation, I think me and Britt talked about this at one point, stuff was happening and then it got taken over by talking points. And these talking points are made to divide sides, whatever side you want to put in that play or whatever for.
Because that's what sells, man.
I know.
That's it.
And that's what kills me about us engaging with and continuing to come back to these forms of media, these forms of media that are just so divisive.
Yeah, but I mean, like, perfect example, like, we're on episode 22. If I was just to start to get really angry with you over a certain topic right now and I flipped the table and then like we started going at it.
No, not my table.
But like we started going at it and people saw it.
That's
your
true.
Podcast would blow up.
That's true.
Because it is people against people.
That's true.
Like it's not just people having an open conversation where we can talk. It's just like, no, wow, there's anger and violence. Let's watch that.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It sells. It sells. Immediate. I think there's an immediate attraction to that. I love the people though that have moved into the podcasting world and there's more and more of them that are moving into this world because they know that the narrative around their lives, around maybe their message is just getting eaten up by these sort of clip segments that you see in the news. And they need a long form scenario, a long form environment to actually say, no, this is what I'm saying. No, this is who I am. And I think there's an attraction to that right now. Do you think that enough people have been turned off this year by the media, or do you think a lot more people have just been?
So in my thought process and my just
because you're not that into the news, right?
I hate the news.
Okay, good.
I hate it so much.
Good. Let's talk about it since we both don't watch it.
Perfect. Here's my well-educated opinion. I think you're looking at a population of people, probably more like our demographic, like 30 to 40 is the dividing age between, okay, media is all we've ever known.
Yeah.
And I'm going to form my own opinion. And it's just how are people going to lead in that next thing? I'll be honest, like the way like our country is set up, I don't think enough young people care enough. They just go, I don't know enough. I don't care. So I can't cause change. And I don't know. I don't think people know any other way. People don't know any other way except to watch the news or except to get their, like, I'm totally guilty of this, getting the news from Twitter. Like, real talk.
It's bad.
It is.
It's bad.
It is. But it's like, I mean, at the same time, you're kind of catching both sides on that.
Right.
And but people don't know how else to do it. Like, people don't know how to consume anything unless it's media driven and media backed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've just, especially this year, even some of the commentators that I used to follow that would be more political commentating and things of that nature, I've kind of pulled away from. I just got so sick of the noise. It's just this, I started to catch on to the repetition of the negativity. And they fill up these large segment shows with just kind of repeating talking points.
Yep.
And it happens on both sides. I lean one way, but it doesn't matter. I'll go to the other side and I'll see that same pattern. So I've had to just kind of pull away.
All of media.
Yeah.
Like I used to work overnight, and when I came home in the morning, I would watch Sports Center, and it was just like, if baseball season was on, it was baseball, but then it was like whoever the free agent is. Like, we're going to talk about James Harden as a free agent for the next month. Or we're going to talk about, like, Tom Brady. He's 40. Like, is he going to continue? He wasn't 40 at that time. But it was just like, it's the same narrative over and over and over again. And it's like, the phrase beating a dead horse. Like, you're going to run it until it no longer gains attention anymore.
What's interesting, though, and I kind of live... Recently, I've sort of pulled away a little bit from YouTube just because you can get sucked into YouTube just the same way that you visit your grandparents. Like the news is on.
You're talking to a guy who had off on Tuesdays, and I literally had a day called YouTube Tuesday.
Oh no!
Yep. Me and my brother would hang out and watch YouTube, and it would be the most.
It depends, though. It depends on what you're watching. It was
funny stuff. I'm not watching. Right. I'm not watching podcasts of like.
See, that's the thing, though. I just go from like podcast to podcast to podcast to podcast.
Yeah, I'm watching like funny fail videos to like Vine videos.
Well, that's where I've transitioned. Back to Disney
entertainment.
Disney Plus has AFV on there. Watch a little bit of that. Go watch some top fails of 2020 on YouTube. Yeah, that's the way to go, man. No, but one thing that is cool that I have seen, and it's been growing, especially in 2020, is this trend of the long form conversations dominating the views that the media is getting. Now they're able to kind of, through their influence and money, push their stuff on YouTube so that as soon as you get on YouTube, you got all the big news organizations pushing their videos. But you look at the views, it's like 4,000 views, 14,000 views. You look at somebody, like I follow this one guy, and it doesn't matter if you like him or not, but Tim Pool is like this liberal. People always accuse him of being like a milquetoast fence sitter because like he just sort of rides.
No idea what the heck that means.
It just means he rides the line.
Okay.
And he never kind of like comes out for one side or the other.
Yeah.
Which seems reasonable. But you know, he has more liberal views, but then in a lot of his talk on culture and society and things like that, he kind of leans the other way. You know, like policy-wise, he wants, you know, universal health care and just all this stuff kind of that are talking points on that side, and then leans culturally in a different direction. But what's cool about it is he has this show at night called Timcast IRL, and he just has him and his friends. They just sit around this huge table and they just do a podcast live on YouTube. Sometimes they have, depending on who like the guests are that come on, they could have like 70,000 people watching live.
Dang.
So like by the time the video's been up till the next day, he's like 235,000 views. And that's one show.
Yeah.
He puts out like 4 videos a day.
A day?
On like other channels that he have.
Golly.
Yeah. So I'm saying like this guy is dominating, you know, because he's like on 2 of his channels, he has over 1 million subscribers. On this nightly show, he has close to 1 million. So he's dominating the regular news media in terms of just views and engagement.
Yeah.
So that gives me hope because he's just having conversations.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about news. They'll bring up news articles, especially he's like a independent journalist. So he reports on the news, but he's just giving his opinion.
Yeah.
You know, so he'll like read the news articles, give you his opinion. And that's basically what he does.
Yeah.
And then the nightly show, he might bring up a news article to kind of get the conversation started. But then he has like all his friends who he kind of has a weird life. He kind of lives in this. Well, he lives out in like Missouri somewhere out in the mountains.
That's weird in itself.
Well, and then it's like this mansion that he bought.
Cool.
And he has like a skate park in his basement.
Oh, that's dope.
And, you know, I don't know how many people live at his house.
A lot, probably.
He has like at least 4 regular people live with him.
Define regular people.
Like, I just mean like friends.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Like, don't know anything about what happens there or anything like that. But like, so they just sit down at night, like every night, 8 to 10:30 p.m. They just sit down and talk. And like to have that many people viewing live is like, I just see the hunger for real conversation because they want to be like completely open and honest and authentic with their views and really kind of dig out ideas and things that are happening in the news and kind of point out that doesn't make any sense or point out that's false.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love that. That gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And this.
Real conversations.
Real
man.
conversation, man.
Real people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just think.
You started off that whole thing with, I've been really pulling back on YouTube lately.
Well, no, this is one show, man. Give me a break. No, I think I wanted to highlight the good things that I see happening, and that's just YouTube.
Yeah.
I know that podcasts are blowing up right now on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, all of those. You know, I mean, that's the medium that's really just taking off.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you as hype about talk shows?
No.
Why?
Because they're scripted.
But what if
the majority of them are.
What if it was a real talk show?
It would have to be someone that I've already see. What's awesome about podcasts is that you get to spend an extended amount of time with a person. So like people that I listen to regularly, I know them. Like I could meet them and just start having a conversation because we know the same topics now.
Sure.
We have similar interests. I've never spoken to them before, but I know them.
But they don't know you.
They don't know me. It's a weird phenomenon, but like I've even heard them talk about this in the past. Like people will come up to them and they'll just start talking and like have everything in the world to talk about.
Do
like,
I know you?
yeah. And like, they'll walk away and be like, do I know that person? You know? So I would need to have that person kind of be established before I watch like a talk show with
But
them.
here's the deal.
Cause it's like,
You're just this is essentially a talk show. What we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's a podcast, but it's talk show
it's different.
It's different. There's not as
No.
many cameras.
It's true.
They're only established in your mind because you've invested the time to make them established in your mind. So therefore, like,
It's true.
wouldn't a talk show kind of be the same thing?
Yeah. I just think talk show and I think like Oprah. So maybe I just have a poor.
So as long as there's like substance to what they're saying, and they're
There's
not
been
talking
substance
about
to some of the stuff that Oprah's done.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, on a consistent basis.
Yeah. No, it could work. It could work. I don't know if it ever could work on the leash of
a
established
network.
media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What we're seeing right now is kind of the death of a lot of these
Mhm.
media organizations. And I'm so happy about it. I'm so
Do you
happy
think
about it.
YouTube will ever start to rein stuff in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they already have.
I mean,
You can't say certain things without getting banned on YouTube.
like what?
I'm not going to say it.
Darn it.
There's certain
Like words?
names that you can't say.
I can't say a name.
There's a
Voldemort.
yeah, and that one's fine.
Darn it.
There's plenty of Harry Potter stuff on there. No, the Beetlejuice. No. There's things that you can't talk about. There's things that the people you can't say their names. All these strange rules are already in place. I mean, even people that have some notoriety have been demonetized for reasons unknown.
Mhm.
You know, they file like a complaint against YouTube, don't hear anything.
Mhm.
There's just
So will there ever be a truly free media?
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know because what we have in place is so powerful. I mean, look at what happened with that Parler. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, that thing that was around for like a week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, but like Parler was a free speech alternative to Twitter.
Mhm.
So a lot of the people that were kicked off Twitter got on Parler.
Dude, do you think Trump would have been on Parler if it was still a thing?
No, that's the weirdest part.
Yeah, but
because
like he got kicked off Twitter. Do you think he would have just went there?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't
don't
really even
know
have
either.
an opinion on that.
I'm just goofing off.
No. But like a lot of people actually wonder if Parler wouldn't have been shut down if he was on there already. Like if he had already established himself on that platform.
I thought it just like sprung up once Twitter started like
No, it's been
started
going for a
taking
little
stuff
while.
down. Oh, I thought
think
it was just
I don't know if it started in 2019 or 2020, but it's fairly new.
yeah.
And I didn't use it that much. I had it because I wanted to check it out.
Yeah.
And it was definitely more right wing.
Mm.
It was definitely more conservatives on there saying what I didn't find to be abnormal.
Mhm.
I didn't think, anything being, although I'm not a person to go like looking for like the deep conspiracy or just deep, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
I'm not in any private Trump groups or, Antifa groups or QAnon or I don't even know anything about all that stuff. I do this podcast and I have a life and, no offense, but you should be offended. So going back to the point of, do I think something could ever come up as an alternative to YouTube? I doubt it because Facebook, Twitter, Google, and Apple and Amazon took out Parler. just completely nuked it, and it was done in a day.
Cool.
So like Parler used Amazon servers to back up its data.
Mm-hmm.
So Amazon was just like, well, we're not going to let you back up your stuff anymore. And then there was just like the whole app went dead. And then Apple and Google were like, oh, well, we're not going to offer your app on our stores anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's dead. No proof. Like, because one of the things that was really insidious about that was that they shut down the servers so that they couldn't even get on there to like show what exactly were the grounds for saying that they incited the Capitol Hill riot.
Okay.
So, but we have documented evidence that there were groups on Facebook that were organizing.
So here's my question
for that.
Here's kind of where I'm leading with that.
Yeah.
Is media in itself the issue? Whether it's YouTube or
could be,
or Fox or CNN or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
could be.
you like. Does this happen if the world is smaller? And what I mean is like, I don't know. Like I'm thinking of like TV shows right now where they're like, oh, like there's a population of like 800 people and everybody knows everybody kind of a thing. But it's just like you have those communities of people
better conversation then
that cared about each other. Like something I love. And one of the reasons we bought the house that we did was like, we met the neighbors like when we went to go see the house, and they're like, dude, we all just sit out on our porches in like the summertime and like we have conversations and like we catch up with people. And I'm like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, if we could stop looking to, I don't want to say media, because I think it's good to be informed about these things. But if we could start to look to our community for help and for knowledge, if we could start to look like, for better or for worse, like start to look to our parents, like as we're growing up, like learn that's like a reliable thing to go to, which is like a lost art nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Like I learned how to tie a tie on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like I learned how to shave from YouTube. Like real talk, but it's just like that conversation, when it's broken down in the home, breaks down the community, which then leads us to running after these conversations that aren't happening any other place.
Mm-hmm.
So don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, one of the things that Britt brought up a long time ago was just this idea of anything in life, put it through this filter of, you know, is it good for me? Yes. Is it good for my family? Is it good for my community? Is it good for the world? You know, kind of putting everything through this filter. And, you know, if this new thing that you're introducing into your life or that you're doing with your life is good for you, okay, now how does it affect your family? And thinking through that grows that thing, that idea or that thing that you're doing in your life. And now you're looking at how it affects others around you closely. And then you extend it out to, how is this affecting my community? And so going back to the media point, it's not healthy for you. So, I mean, it really should stop right there. It's not healthy for your family because it's creating horrific home environments. I mean, the horror stories I heard from Thanksgiving this year, just talking with some of my coworkers. It was sad. It was sad. There was family members having to come at different times because they didn't want to interact with certain members that believed certain things politically. I mean, it's just, and I think it stems from our consumption. It stems with you consuming this media on a god-awful amount of time basis, you know? And now it's infecting the family, and then it's going to infect your community. Look at our country.
But your media is a one-on-one avenue. Always.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's only ever a you thing, where it's like, you said, okay, you can take it to your family, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I want to bring this into my family? Okay, yes. As a mom and a dad, you know it's good. But like, what about for Brom? And what about for Addie? Do they like know what's good for mom and dad? You know what I mean? Like, dude, what are they bringing in, especially as they get older? And then in reality, how many of us actually know our neighbors anymore? How many of us know, like, we use this word community, and it's just like,
and we refer to that in like these little like kind of groups that we're in.
I'm officially arrived at adulthood because I have a Facebook page for my street. It's a Facebook group. I'm part of it. It's called the Spring Street Squad.
So you're gonna be on that yard sale for the community.
Yes. Dude, gems. But it's just like outside of even just my 2400 block. Like I know most of the people on there, but like I don't know the next street down.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the 2300 block. I don't know Intervilla. Like I don't know anybody who lives on Penn Ave.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just kind of like we sit here and we're like, oh, well, I don't know what's right for my community. And it's like, because we don't know our community.
Because we don't know it. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I feel like that's where a lot of this stuff breaks down is everything that we're taking in, everything that we're doing is so inwardly focused just towards us.
Yeah.
And about building that out further and further and further until ultimately, like, you know, we're never going to be the United States of America where everybody knows everybody. I'm like, oh yeah, John over in California, he's good people. But it's just like, if we as communities can stand together for things, then
but if there could be common ideas established more broadly than us as individuals. Yeah, there's a lot of individuals running about right now. And I think that's why there's no real cohesiveness in our country. You know, on either side of the political aisle, there's not a cohesiveness. There's negativity and bickering in party lines now.
But I think that's why you're so drawn to like, oh, well, these 5 guys are sitting down and having just a 2-hour-long conversation. It's just like, it's something we all want, but like we can't have, so I'm just going to take part in theirs.
Well, I think it has to start in things like this.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
You know, me inviting you on to just talk.
Yeah.
Like we don't
Even
do
though
this.
I asked you, I said like, hey man, what are we talking about? You're like, I don't know, life or something.
Well, that's because I don't, this is not a topical podcast. We'll get into topics and stuff like that.
Maybe.
But I want to talk to my friends, and I hope that just like I like to listen to friends talk because I feel like I'm not getting enough of that personally.
Yeah.
You know, I love talking to my wife, but like
she's good people.
She's really good people.
Not just on camera.
She's good people. Really good. Much better than me. Much better than me. Much nicer.
Say it. He said it. Hot take.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a hot take. It's probably widely known. But yeah, it starts like this, and then it starts with us having dinner later, you know, and just getting together more. Did you really?
Yeah. Like leaving the house.
What
She's like, the Lettermans are coming over. I'm like, oh, cool.
What you making for me, man?
I'm pretty sure we're just doing like hot dogs and hamburgers.
What gluten-free food are you making for me?
Me and cooking
do you know what's really funny?
Go well
is
together.
I have so many friends that have different allergies now, and I just realized that like the friends that we get together with on a regular basis all have allergies. I've like surrounded myself with this team of misfits. You know,
you guys want pizza?
Gluten allergy and dairy allergy. Yeah.
Tolerant.
Unite.
So what are we eating? Holographic meatloaf? I don't know. Golly.
Crap.
No, there's some good gluten-free stuff.
On the last episode that I forgot to hit record on the video for, I literally opened my box of
I heard
Oreos.
A thing, I thought it went off.
I think.
Oh yeah, you got the gluten-free stuff.
I got the gluten-free Oreos.
Yeah, dude.
I should bring them tonight.
You should.
Well, can Liz have those?
She'll tell you no, but then she'll eat them. Sorry,
that's
babe.
My favorite. That's my favorite.
I hope that stays true. Like by the time this airs.
Yeah, and we're just gonna be like watching. Like,
see, there it is.
Eat it. Eat it. They're delicious though. I haven't had Oreos in like, I don't know, 2.5 years.
Yeah,
something like that. Probably even more because I wasn't like a huge Oreo eater.
Yeah.
But like once they were gone, now I can't have cookies and cream ice cream anymore. I couldn't have Oreos.
Fun fact for you. There is So Delicious. It's a brand.
Okay.
At Giant, they have cookies and cream and cookie dough ice cream that's gluten-free.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just letting you know. Just in case you're wanting to sponsor us. So delicious.
So delicious.
No, but dude, like I live for people to come to my house. Like no joke.
Yeah.
Not like I don't want to leave my house to go meet people. I'll go meet people anywhere. But like it was so crazy because when we bought our house, the couple that we bought it from, they're like, you know what, we spent so much time praying over who was going to move in here next and just kind of like what the space would be. And she was like sitting there and like Liz and her like crying for like an hour. And it was awesome. But she's like, one word kept popping out to us like over and over and over again. This house would be a house of refuge. And I was just like, and in my head, we had just started like Haven like a year before. And I'm like, that's like the same word. And then, and it's been over the past like 2 years that we've lived there. And God's like, no, dude, like we've had people, guys, young adult guys, girls, youth group students come over and just like bear all.
That's awesome.
And just be like people who've like gone through breakups and we're like, dude, if you need a couch to cry on and you just need to be around people
took
come
it seriously.
Over. Oh yeah. But I love it. I
awesome.
love it so much, man.
That's
because
so
it's
cool.
just like, it's those moments where now I know I can connect with those people. It's those moments because they've come to me at their most vulnerable that I know, one, they trust me enough to talk to me. And two, like now they know like our door's open. I can tell you when a new person comes over to my house because they ring the doorbell or they knock. Anybody who's been over to my house before just like walks in. I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? You know what I mean? Like, it's a beautiful thing, man. Just like inviting people into your home saying like, hey, you're in my space, but you're free to be completely you. So like, just do you. And it's just like the amount of conversations that we've had that way. Like we've had people that we've met one time. We're like, come on over. Come hang out.
Yeah.
And they come
That's
over
awesome.
and they sit there for like 6 hours. And it's just like, we just have conversations and we're real and we get to help them through things. And they show us where we suck at certain things. And we're like, that's cool. Great. But I think conversation starts with just being open. People want to be heard first and foremost. They don't want you to talk to them. They just want to be heard.
Yeah. Well, even for this podcast, it's hard for me to even open it up. I'm not good with it. Believe it or not, like I'm good at talking. I could talk forever.
Oh, yes, you can.
I can talk about anything.
Fun fact. If you ever want to torture JC, for anybody who's watching and or listening right now,
I don't mind silence.
yes, you do. You just
I don't
broke
mind
it.
silence.
You wouldn't even let me.
I did. Well, I'm not going to let the podcast keep going. I got to edit that crap out.
No way, dude.
No,
Silence is okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
You
No,
know,
I don't
some
mind.
crickets there or something.
I don't mind silence. I do suck at rest. That's for sure. I do suck at rest. We try to do it on Saturdays. I suck. I just want to do something. I just want to like, all right, well, you know, I won't work on this or go on social media, but I'll do this house project.
Yeah, right.
You know, like there's always something. But so it's hard for me. I like talking, but it's hard for me to open myself up to new people. Like I would love to bring other people onto this podcast that I really wanted to get to know better, but just haven't made the time. I'm not a person to just kind of like hang out with people, and
There's got to be a purpose.
there has to be a purpose.
Yep.
Like, you know, and it has to be like our families are getting together, and there you don't even really get good quality time because you're constantly
making sure your kids aren't killing each other.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's hard, man. It's hard to get over that hump of just getting out of your own way and say, just make it happen, even if it's not your thing. Because once I do it, I love it.
Yeah.
Once I do it, once I talk to a new person, I'm like, why have we never done this before?
Yeah.
Why have we never hung out more? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just need to get over that hurdle. I need to, and it's such a beautiful thing that you were talking about. Like once you go through something with somebody, there's just that lasting connection. And that's one thing that we're also, a lot of us don't know our neighbors. We also don't go through crap with our neighbors. That used to be a common thing. Like you got something going on at your house, you know, your neighbor runs over. Like the other day, my neighbor has this like kind of souped up truck.
Slide.
What?
They have a slide too.
They do have a sweet slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but
truck.
he was changing the tire for his, it's a monster truck. So it's like a 200-pound tire. He pulled the one out and he had the other one up on like a jack.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, it was a windy day, somehow it slipped off the jack and just started rolling back towards his garage. Now he has this beautiful like log cabin house and garage, like what do you call it? Not an extended garage, but like a whole other building. That's his garage. And so it starts rolling back and like one wheel's off. So it's like digging into the ground, like as it comes back towards his garage. And he like runs over to my house and he's like, I need your help. You know, so I just bolt out of the house and go over there and we like wrap a chain around his front end and we had to wrap the chain around a tree and like use a wrench to like tighten it. But you know what? Afterwards, we had this awesome time of just talking.
Yeah.
Like we got that done. His garage was fine. And then we just chatted. And it was
Do you think he would have helped you pull a trampoline out of a river?
I think he would. He's an outdoorsman.
All right.
Yeah.
He's like, hold on, let me get my boots on.
Yeah, he would actually have equipment for it.
Yeah, not trudging through water.
Yeah. I did that the other day.
Why?
Because
just for fun?
No. Not right now. It's freezing. So for I think this was Christmas.
Okay.
The kids got one of those what do you call those things? Like a little hovercraft thing.
Drone?
It's like a drone, but it's not like a remote control. Like it's one where you turn it on and you like toss it in the air and it just starts flying.
Okay. Yeah.
And it has sensors. So like if you put your hand near it, it starts to fly that. It's cool. Stupid me thought it would be an awesome idea to try it outside.
Good.
So I calibrated it. I made sure that it was like flying correctly inside, took it out. The kids were so excited. They were like coming out the door. And I went, whoop. And it just rose up and just started flying down towards the road.
Where did you think it was going to go?
I don't know. I thought it would just like stay here. And then I would like push it around or whatever. So
Did you find it?
It flew across the street above the electrical lines.
Good.
Over
Good
the
over the river.
Over the river and hit a branch and then just dropped. So I felt terrible for
Did it break?
I don't even know where it is. Long story short, I crossed the river. It had just rained for like 2 weeks. So the water's really high. I tried to like stay on like rocks at first.
That don't work.
And then I slipped and I was like, here we go. And I just went completely across the river in my pants. I mean, it was up to the top of my pants.
Oh yeah.
And so I did that again. So you have to do that every so often.
Yeah.
You just have to get in the icy river.
There's a metaphor there.
I'm sure there is.
Maybe you can do like a post about that.
Maybe.
About the icy river.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's coming.
Probably not.
Probably not. I have no idea. I have no idea. But yeah, man, going back to, we don't go through stuff with people anymore.
No.
We're very isolated. Even in, I think we might share stuff with our families. Maybe.
Like as adults?
Yeah.
Like with your mom and dad? Or are you talking about
I don't even mean like share like through speech. I mean like share in a difficult time. Like going through a difficult time. Your family might be involved in that. You might kind of let some people closest to you in your church or something like that, into that time. But like very few. I mean,
and how much do you actually let them in? Like, that's the real question.
Exactly.
It's you're like in the church world, you're like, oh, like, can you pray for me? And you're just like, I mean, I can pray for you. And like, prayer is not anything to belittle, but like, how about I just come alongside you here?
Right. Well, we're afraid to ask too much of people. we're afraid to say, like, would you just come, like, talk to me for an afternoon?
Yeah.
Like, just come sit with me so I can just, I don't have enough money to go to a shrink. Can you just be that person to sit and listen to me and tell me what I'm thinking is stupid or right or okay, or just say nothing, you know,
or
like
wrong or whatever.
anything.
Yeah.
You know, we don't ask that of people. But I think we all yearn to either have that in our lives or be that for someone else. Don't you think?
I think we have both. Like, I think everybody wants to be the hero.
We need both, you mean? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we want to be both.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to be a hero. Like, I'm sure there's no part of you that would not love to be superhero dad in Addie's eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
every day.
But you also realize, like, there's some stuff that, like, okay, I just need places to work through this. That's a safe spot. Like, we've had those conversations before. You're like, I just need those people that can just sit there and listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just tell me, like, if what I'm saying is right or, like, if I'm off a wall somewhere.
Yeah.
I think we all need that. I think maybe that just comes in, like, different times in our lives where we realize, like, okay, like, I'm more of this person. Like, I'm more of the person that needs to sit with people.
Yeah.
And I'm more of the person in this season where I need somebody to sit with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they both go hand in hand. But I think it's so true that you can't have one without the other. Like, you can't learn to sit with somebody unless somebody sat with you.
Right.
Kind of vice versa.
Right.
Like,
I mean, the
can't
same
learn.
with going back to how we communicate with our wives.
Yeah.
That communicate differently. You know, unless we've lived and worked in that environment, you know, with those people, we can't be there for them.
Yeah.
You know, when they need it, or understand how they're being there for us when we need it. Yeah. We definitely, something that I keep stressing on the podcast is just how important it is for us to fix this. And that
is this.
What's that?
What is this?
To fix this culture that we have right now that doesn't value conversation in the ways that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
You know, that looks for conversation on media, whether that be news or social or whatever, instead of their neighbors, instead of their spouses, instead of their friends that they haven't called this week. You know, whoa.
That was my stomach. Did you hear that on the mic?
Gotta eat some of them Oreos. I wish I brought them.
That would be sweet. Sweet? Sweet.
That would be queet.
What's queet?
That should be queet.
That would be queet, bro. Quite sweet, bro.
Made a new word.
Good save.
T-shirt.
Just breathing. Queet.
Queet. This does not sound good.
Nah, it really doesn't.
Good. Oh, man. But how have you been through? Because I haven't talked to you. I don't even know what was happening back on episode 8.
What?
I don't even remember like what was going on in the world in episode 8. I don't even remember that far back.
Dude,
That's how crazy this
I remember the beard.
Whole year has been.
Beard thing. I remember.
I just mean what was going on in the world.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to see like if there's anything that like maybe, you know, brought about that conversation.
Yeah, man.
I'm talking about social media then. I feel like that might have been like
we were
shortly
talking
after,
about
like, Black Lives
Bin
Matter.
Daddin. Remember
Bin Daddin?
Bin Daddin. We were talking about being fathers and
yeah,
what you've learned so far and what that's been like.
How's being a dad?
Now a lot of stuff has been happening positively with you and Chase and all of you guys, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like a pretty good dad, I think. He told me the other day, he's like, "Dad, I think you're a pretty good dad." And I'm like, "Thanks, dude." No, he still doesn't talk. But I think a lot of stuff is kind of, it's been moving in the right direction, which is good. Chase loves school, which
Yeah.
is
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
It's kind of sad because like we get to school and he just gets out of the seat and just runs inside. I'm like, okay, see ya, bye.
Yeah.
But no, he loves it.
My kids get to like my parents' house or
Yeah.
my or Britt's parents' house, and they just turn around and they go, "So are you leaving?"
Because if
That
you
makes you
leave-
feel so good.
If you leave, that means grandpa gets to give us more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what it means.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he loves school and
He loves school.
now he's learning. So is he speaking a little bit at all?
He's
or is
got
he-
like 2 or 3 words, and that's about
Okay.
it. So
But how is the because you guys just started working with him on the did you get the tablet?
no,
You didn't get the tablet yet?
no. Here's the deal.
Oh my
Here's
goodness.
reality. Start a GoFundMe. You want to Venmo me, Pat_I_Kenna. The insurance companies are so backed up because of all things COVID
Oh no.
that we got an email in November that said like, oh, we're going to ship you your tablet at the end of January.
Yeah.
It was supposed to ship last weekend, and we got an email like a couple days prior that was like, hey, it's still a couple months out. And like, we'll let you know once we know. And I just kind of told Liz, I'm like, I'm not waiting anymore. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care how much it costs. Somebody just send me somewhere where I can buy this just straight up. Cause it's like, you get this like trial device so you can make sure like the program works for your
child.
kid.
Oh, okay.
But like Chase he carries around the piece of paper with like
Yeah.
this home screen on it and like uses it and like uses like 4-word sentences in it. I'm like, obviously he's comfortable with this one. Obviously this is the one he wants. I don't care.
Yeah.
So like we contacted his speech person and they're like, yeah, you need an iPad Pro. And I'm like,
no.
no, I don't. You're lying. It's just because it's big. And they're like, well, this is what it says. You need an iPad Pro. And I'm like,
Oh my god.
you don't know what you're talking about.
Program?
For one program. I'm like, wrong. And I think what they're saying is like, you need the size of it. So,
Yeah.
because like the icons get pretty small. But I was just like, you don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not having my kid walk around with an iPad Pro.
No.
I don't walk around with an
No.
iPad Pro.
You kidding me?
That's funny.
But I just told Liz, I'm like, you know
Well, for
what?
people on the podcast, tell what is the sheet that he has? What does that do?
Yeah, so it's this sheet. It's like probably like 10 by 10 grid, probably
Okay.
more than that. And it's got pictures of different things, and each picture has a word above it.
Okay.
So on the actual tablet, when he hits the picture, it will then say the word that's on that picture.
Okay.
So it's kind of like modeling language for him.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's kind of a dual thing. Like he gets to communicate, but then also he's hearing.
he's hearing it as well.
okay. Cool.
Which is super nice. But right now it's just kind of the home screen, which is your basic. I think it's 50 some pictures. But it's just like he could start off a sentence by say like I, and then it'll go to a different page that will kind of like give you like a verb of like, okay, you could just say like I want, I go, like I whatever.
Yeah.
And it'll like navigate that way. Where right now he just has like a home screen and he has to try to like piece together these sentences with these
Yeah. Can't really
couple
get
things.
complete with it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even when he was in speech therapy, like she like brought it out the tablet the first time and she's like, he has never played with these before. And I'm like, no. And she's like, yeah, like this is probably it. Like he's doing really well, especially like first time. I'm like, cool, great. Let's just get it. And they're like, all right, we'll send you a trial in 6 months. Oh, wait, a year. So I'm just kind of at the point now where I'm like, okay, I want to know what I actually need in a
Right.
tablet. And then I'm like,
Just make it happen.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm not waiting around, like, because through the insurance it's free, but I'm done wasting.
Well, here's
my
an
son's time.
example. We'll get whatever you need.
What?
Anybody that me, anybody that Venmo's Pat.
You get a
Um,
free high five
Exactly.
once quarantine's
No,
over.
but this is what community is for. This is what friends are for.
do you think
You have a need, we'll make it happen. Bowling.
way off?
Yeah, no, he
See,
didn't
no,
make it.
you remember last podcast? No joke, and this plays to the point you were making.
Okay.
Sorry, last podcast I told you. I said whenever I make a serious point, I then deflect
Yeah,
by
you
trying
do.
to do something funny or
Yeah, you
something
do.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like, I catch myself doing it more and more. And that was literally that. You're like, no, the community will come together. I'm like, yeah, see ya.
Let me throw a bottle across the room.
That's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people do have that though.
Yeah.
Like there's like that mechanism that's just like, oh, I'm being a little too serious. Okay,
Right.
I'm going to pull back now.
And maybe that might distract lesser men, but not this guy.
Why do you sound like Batman?
I don't know. I don't know. He's pretty manly, I guess.
It's true.
I wish I had a manlier voice. That would make this podcast so much better if it was like, hello. I can't even do it.
I don't think people would listen if it was like, hello.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll get like a lot of women to listen or something.
Dude, what if somebody did, like, do you think you could tangibly listen to a podcast that was somebody just whispering like this? So you have to listen to it in headphones.
Isn't that like an ASMR?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, could you do that? There's probably a lot of
I
like
don't
kids
think
that could
so.
do that.
I mean, it's great for like social media. I see a
True.
lot of people doing it on social media and it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, and it definitely gets your attention the
Yeah.
first time. Like the second time, I'm like, this is taking forever.
Yeah. Why are you still talking like that?
Yeah. It's a cool concept.
Something that
I wouldn't be able to do a podcast with it though.
if you wear headphones, you could.
Yeah, maybe.
Something I was thinking about, and I don't know why, it's just kind of been stuck in my head lately. One, I was going to say, yeah, dude, you're 22 freaking podcast deep.
I know,
Let's
man.
go. That's for real.
I know.
That's for real.
22.
And I felt like, you remember I showed you that, I'm a pastor, so sorry. I sent you a sermon that was like, it was like lightning before the thunder. It
Yeah.
was like the Imagine Dragons,
Sure.
like 10,000 lightning strikes before thunder.
Mhm.
And I just felt like every time I see your numbers go up, every time I see like another episode come on, like God's just been really challenging me and maybe you. I don't know. He's like, show me somebody who's done something 1,000 times and has not had success with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
found some sort of success. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so I just got to do like 1,000 more of these. That's cool. But no, it's weird because it's like, that's the number that always pops into my head.
What I found is I have no idea how I got to 22.
Sure you do.
No, but like here, no, but hear what I'm saying. Like I kind of turn around and I don't know how I got here.
It's like when
I
you're
don't
driving.
I don't remember episode 1. You know what I mean? Like that's the craziest thing. And I know that's going to be like, once you just commit to something and you're
Mhm.
just doing it, don't get me wrong. It's wonderful to look back.
Yeah.
And be like, wow,
Yeah.
that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But an encouraging thing for anybody thinking about starting something, once you commit and you're just doing it, it just flies.
Mhm.
You'll be at 1,000 in no time, and you'll look back and you'll have that same wow.
Yeah.
But like,
See, and I don't even think you'll remember 99% of what you talk about. But I bet if when you're at 1,000 episodes, if you remember this point, you could probably go back and write down the names of like 98% of the people you've had on your show, because
Yeah.
it's not necessarily what you talk about; it's the
people that you
relationships
talk to. Yeah,
that are formed.
yeah, definitely, 100%.
I feel like that'll be dope.
I'm excited for that, man.
That'll be dope.
I'm excited for that because, like,
Are you gonna have a live crowd for your 1,000th episode?
no,
Oh,
no,
man. Maybe Corona will be done by then.
no.
No.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
By 1,000 episodes, how many years is that?
Well, how many you
I'm not
putting out a
doing
week
math.
right now?
Huh?
How many putting out a week right now?
2.
2. So 52.
I'll let you
That's
do the
10
math.
years.
10 years?
10 years. Yeah, but
I hope Corona's done by then.
let's sure hope so. I don't know what's going on anymore.
I don't know. Not stopping me.
Nah.
Yeah, man. It was funny. One of the things, I don't mean to go back to the other conversation, but maybe we're not going to do that because now do you ever have like a thought and you're like watching it fly away from your mind?
That's what I call the Holy Spirit, but that's just me.
I had this like thought when you
Do
were
I want to hear it? What was I talking about?
No, it was good. It was good. Oh, I remember going back to just the way that you look at Chase and like how you're so excited about like, cause I know how much you love being a dad. And I was thinking about how excited you are. It's been difficult. It's been really hard to kind of walk through this with your son.
Mhm.
You want everything to be perfect for your kids.
Oh yeah.
So I know how hard it's been on you and Liz, but what's so cool is I think you've really only grown in your love and your like how much you care for that kid
Oh yeah.
through the difficulties, like through like having to walk with him through these struggles and how awesome it is to celebrate those small wins that you get. It's so much greater. And I was thinking just about how it is for us and God, like because we're all screw ups.
1,000,000%.
You know what I mean? So like, I was just thinking of like how much greater God's love. I mean, his love is endless, but how much greater it even is when he gets to see us through the most, like it doesn't matter how screwed up we are or how, what we put ourselves through or what it is. I think like his love only deepens even more and maybe can even be felt even more through our screw ups, through the ways in which he's had to work with us slowly.
Yeah.
To just get small wins.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that came to mind and I was just like, that's such a beautiful analogy of God's love for us.
It is, dude. And I feel like, I don't know. And I'm sure you're this way with your kids. Like you may have a moment where like you screw up with your kids and you're like, okay, I have to say sorry. Perfect. What do you mean?
Every day.
Or I don't know, like you do something small for your kids, but they think it's like the biggest deal in the entire world.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you're just like, this is just like a fraction, like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of like part of a part of God's love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think like, I'm not going to preach here.
Go for it.
There's just so much like, everyone always says like, oh, it's always preached like grace in church and grace, and there's never any like hell and fire brimstone anymore. I'm like, dude,
we went through that.
Yeah, we're done. We realized that was a bad idea. And there's just part of me that's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if there's anybody listening to the podcast where you just feel like, I've never felt God's love. I don't know what God's love is. I think it's ridiculous that you can tell me that God loved me more than my parents do or did, or maybe even in spite of my parents. Like, I think what you're saying is ridiculous. Like, one, no, that's a lie because God literally sent his son to die for you. But two, talk to me.
Yeah.
Talk to JC. Like, again, we're talking about having conversation.
Yeah.
And it's more than just me and you. It's opening conversation to anyone and everyone.
Exactly.
Because there are times where, like, when you were talking, it just rung in my head. Like, my son, he doesn't speak. He's got a really big speech delay. And there are times where he just gets super frustrated because, like, he's telling me something and I have no idea what it is. And I feel bad, but like, I'm kind of like laughing because I'm just like, dude, like, you know, but I just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he throws a temper tantrum. And what I found out is just like, if I get down on like my hands and knees and I just kind of like hold him, not even tight, just like kind of like put my hands on him, not put my hands on him like that, but just like hold him. For anybody who's listening online.
I got you. What?
I got your kid. And I just like slow down for a second. I just feel like so many times that's like God to me. That's like God's way of loving me. He's like, dude, you're just screaming about stuff. And like, you're just yelling and I know what you want and I get it. I mean, I didn't know what Chase wants, but I feel like there's some times where like And I don't even know how to explain it. Like, there's a difference between like, if you've ever gone to church, you hear like the head knowledge and heart knowledge, but there's definitely like an experience of God just being like, hey, I got you. Like, we'll figure this out. And I feel like there's just so many people who think like God is like just staring at us, watching us have temper tantrums, like, where he's just like, no, like, I got you. Like, we'll work through this. We'll get through this together. And it's like in those times that he actually draws closer to us. So, that was a super duper roundabout thought.
No, really, man, but I think
that's processing out loud to its best.
That's fine. That's what we need to do, right? That's what we started with.
Correct.
We need to allow people to process however they process in whatever time they need to process and give people grace. I think that's something that Christians don't do it. I was going to say don't do it perfectly. They don't even do it. They don't even do it. They don't even do it well.
And we're only saying that because like we love Jesus and we realize we suck at it.
Yeah. But like we don't extend grace to people as much as we should. You know, I mean, to people, you know, Spider-Man, you know, great responsibility, you know, with great power comes great responsibility.
It's like Spider-Man.
with Christians, it's with great grace should extend greater grace to people.
Yeah.
And we don't. And I think that's one issue in this bucket of issues that we got to start working on, you know, and the only way that you're going to start working on it is to first decide to. If you never make the decision, you're never going to change. True. That's with anything in life. Yeah. And then call up your friends, call up your neighbors, you know, walk over to your neighbor's house. If you're close enough, craziness, knock on their door, say, what's up? And
just say, dude,
maybe call first.
I got an extra burrito from Chipotle. Do you want it? Crazy. People will never deny food.
No, I'm gluten free.
I mean, you can still eat Chipotle. You just get like a bowl or something.
I got to get like tacos or a bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. But meat around food. That's like, I mean, we're never going to do that on a podcast because that would be gross in the microphone. But like, if you're looking for a way to have a conversation with somebody, food
is the best.
Food is the best. Like, you're literally coming over to my house tonight for no other reason than to have dinner.
Yeah.
If dinner wasn't a thing, we'd be like, so we're just
what are we doing?
Chilling? Is the trampoline up? No? Okay.
Yeah.
It's always a smart move.
That is a smart move.
Well, that seems like a good place to stop.
That does seem like a good place to stop. So we'll wrap it up. Now, we don't do that at the end.
Right.
Sorry, guys. Pat, you know, he hasn't been here for a while. He doesn't really know the
But I'm going to be back like a lot more.
Yeah, he will. We'll get better at this. We'll get better at this talking thing.
What's talking?
I don't know, but you're freaking people out.
I know.
Oh.
If you're watching on YouTube, love you.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, while Pat's pointing at you in some weird, creepy way, looking at you with those deep set
blue eyes.
I don't know. Do you have blue eyes?
I do have blue eyes. Blue eyes and red hair. It's a weird combination.
That is a weird combination. Anyways, make sure that you smash that like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Everybody listening, make sure you subscribe to the podcast or follow us if you're on Spotify. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.